And I will make the comment again, I've never seen this done properly by the Royal Bank, the Bank of Montreal, anybody out there. Nobody's done it properly. That's so far. And here's what I want. I want when you take on somebody's account, you don't take on the account unless you get the adjusted cost base of whatever shares they're giving you.
Right. So basically what happens when we open an account and put it on our system, we get your statements from you. And we have the ability and produce our quarterly reports. And if you decide, for example, you come to us and you have what we call legacy assets. You come in and you say, I've had Royal Bank in my account for the last 10 years, and I don't want you to sell it. I want to put it in there because I want to keep it and look after it. So for your legacy assets, what you do is you supply us with your prior statements, either your records of purchase or your statement showing the cost, and we'll rekey that in. Basis, we have proof from you that you actually, that's what you paid.
But sometimes they inherited it. They don't know what Dad paid for it.
Right.
The time to determine that is the first day you see the account, not sometime
down the road.
20 years later when now then Dad's dead, you can't ask him, or
right.
That's got to be established.
Absolutely, especially in the cross-border situation, right?
Yes.
But I should say that we won't. Obviously, we will only input the cost basis that proof that we receive from the client. We don't go manufacturing costs to display things.
But the time to put it in is that day you open the account,
right.
And it is so annoying.
This is, I think, of value in that if we, from a record-keeping point of view, we can establish a value, we can have the proof, we can supply that reporting to you, your accountant, and you can, in soft copy or hard copy, you can archive it on, for your records. Your accountant can have it for their records, but it's available there. The other thing that's, I think, worth of note is 2 or 3 years down the road, and you get an issue with the tax department, and you've got to recall those documents. And I think you were telling me a couple of weeks ago about how hard it is to get documentation from certain broker-dealers or so forth that you...
I wrote to Merrill Lynch in New Brunswick, New Jersey, 15 times over an account. I had copies of all the sale documents, and it was Merrill Lynch. It was actually a Merrill Lynch account in Santa Barbara, California. And this fellow ended up with a $218,000 tax bill. And I'm going to make the statement: $218,000 tax bill because Merrill Lynch wouldn't provide. They never even answered one phone call. And I had documented one letter. I had documented it, and I finally ended up dealing with the IRS in Suntula, Alaska.
Wow.
And for an account in Santa Barbara, California, where all the records were supposedly kept in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And I finally ended up getting the lady in Suntula, Alaska, to accept the fact of when this man had inherited the money to buy the stock and so on from Merrill Lynch, and that it had to be approximately that. And she accepted that, and we took a $218,000 tax bill down to $144.60. But in the meantime, the client had his marriage break up, he'd lost his house, lost his car, because this $218,000 tax bill had destroyed his credit and everything else. And it just...
the information is important, and in our case, again, it's just a bit of an added benefit is if you want your 2006 monthly statements, you want to know what all your income, what dividends you had in 2006. It's all online, all recallable, available to you in a PDF format at any time.
That's what people need.
Yeah. So no, I'm pleased with our data service and so forth, and the ability to carve out data for whether it's cross-border purposes or often, a good issue is that here in domestic issue in Canada, for example, we have a corporation with a non-calendar year end.
Again, for U.S. reporting and for every other, a non-calendar year end is the accountant's retirement plan.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make the statement. when you sit down, you start a new corporation or a new business, and the accountant starts talking about how much tax you're going to save in a June 30th year end or a September 30th year end or something, recognize that that means that your accountant gets to charge you sometimes thousands of dollars a year to adjust all those statements, because the bank's reporting it to you on an annual basis. Everybody is doing a thing on an annual basis. Most of your customers are doing things on an annual basis. Everybody wants things on an annual basis. You have chosen to save $10 in income tax by making a June the 30th year end. The United States government demands, for the purposes of a non-resident, that it be on a December 31st.
Yeah.
So anytime the accountant says you're going to save $10,000 in tax, just remember it's going to cost you $100,000 in accounting.
I didn't know it was that much, but I know it's an issue.
Whatever tax you save the first year,
yeah.
you now pay extra accounting for the rest
That's
of your
right.
life,
Yeah.
as long as you have that deal.
Yeah.
And if it's cross-border, you can add $5,000 to $10,000
No,
right now
it becomes
if it's got any
we have the ability to report on a non-calendar year basis, and I think it's something we've certainly used it with our several of our clients who have corporations with off-calendar year ends. It's nice. I mean, if you have a second quarter year end, you're going to give you a rolling.
Well, most people can adjust it, because sometimes the guy wants to sell his corporation in the middle of the year, so you need a September the 30th year end.
Yeah.
But to do it on a continuous basis is just plain silly. And my advice to anybody is, if you've got a September 30th year end or July 30th year end or whatever it happens to be, you can apply to Revenue Canada to change your year end, change it to December 31st, and do a short year. You file a short year or whatever and get it over with.
Yeah, keep it simple, right?
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, in my humble opinion, to do that.